Lindsay?
Radon is referred to as a silent killer. It lurks in about every 3 Utah homes, and it's the second leading cause of lung cancer.
And this month is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. It's one of the many reasons why it's important to check your home for radon and to hopefully help prevent cancer. Yeah. We are joined now by epidemiologist Judy O and TJ Mellors, who is an expert on radon. Thank you so much for both of you to coming in.
Thanks.
We've talked about radon before in Utah. Why is it so prevalent here?
I'll take that question.
Okay.
So radon is a odorless, colorless gas with no taste. It's radioactive, and it's formed from the natural decay of uranium and other elements in the soil. Mm-hmm. And because of the natural composition of soils here in the Intermountain West, it is actually a really big public health problem.
When it comes to cancer or different types of cancer, what's the likelihood of radon leading to something like that?
Yeah, so because radon is radioactive, when you breathe it in, it releases energy that directly damages the DNA of the cells in your lungs, and it does increase your risk for cancer. So the most recent estimates from the World Health Organization state that between 10 and 20% of lung cancers globally can be attributed to radon exposure.
We hear from people with lung cancer, I've never smoked in my life, and there's a good chance that it comes from radon.
Yeah, I mean, although the science to tell a person exactly why their cancer developed isn't quite there yet, what we can learn from epidemiologic studies is that large populations that have been exposed to radon do have an elevated risk on average for lung cancer, both in smokers and also in non-smokers.
Yeah. And since radon is colorless, odorless, how do you detect it?
Yeah, good question. Our homes are like vacuums. They sit on top of the soil and they have a lower air pressure than the soil beneath them. And so quite literally homes draw the soil gases up out of the soil through the bottom of the home and into the living space. And so with that, the only way to test for it, being that it is colorless and odorless and you can't smell it or taste it or detect it with our own senses, is to do a radon test. And luckily, it's quite easy to perform. You can get a free radon test at utahradon.org, and a test will be mailed to you. You take 5 minutes to set it up, and then you mail it off to a lab to be analyzed, and they just email the results to you. And that's the first step toward being able to know if this is something we should be concerned about in our home.
I want to ask you about one specific aspect of this, and that's basements. Are basements more of a problem area when it comes to radon?
Good question. All floors of a home are susceptible to having radon gas on them or in them. And so in that sense, like every floor of the home, people are being exposed to some radon. That said, radon is a heavier gas than normal ambient air, so depending on the air pressure differences between the floors, normally homes will have the highest concentrations of radon in the basement because of the fact that it is a heavier gas than the normal ambient air, which is definitely a concern. A lot of people are using their basements nowadays for living and extended family and things like that, staying there, kids sleeping in the basement. So we definitely want to be testing our homes.
I know we got one of the tests, and the advice was to set it up in the basement.
Correct.
Because that would give you a better read of the level.
Yeah, the EPA guideline is to do the lowest livable level of the home. So if you do have a basement, whether finished or unfinished, or potentially livable level of the home, that would be the floor of the home to conduct that test. Some homes don't have basements. They have crawl spaces or slab-on-grade homes. In those cases, testing on the main floor, because those homes are just as likely to have high radon, being that those homes still create that suction effect on the soil and draw the soil gases upward from beneath them.
Okay, so let's say you do find radon a higher than normal level or whatever. What do you do? How do you mitigate this?
Yeah, good question. The science behind it is called active soil depressurization. Okay. That's a fancy way of saying you install a system that essentially vacuums airflow and soil gases from beneath the home's foundation, and then it just vents those soil gases up above the roof line so it can safely disperse with the open air outside. That's just reducing how much of these harmful soil gases are coming into our home's living spaces in the first place. And the average cost of that is $1,600 to $2,000 in Utah, so not terribly expensive for the price of reducing the risk of lung cancer.
Well, now that we know it's there, can't they build that underneath homes before it happens?
I wish they would. It's something that's a work in progress here in Utah. Unfortunately, we're lacking legislation that requires radon testing during real estate transactions or that requires radon mitigation prevention measures to be taken during construction. But that is something that we'd love to see to protect Utah families here in the future.
You guys teaming up to get those numbers? And
We are.
We are, yes.
Absolutely.
And Judy, real quickly, let me ask you, is there still continuing research going on between the link of cancer to radon?
Yes, there are several studies going on both at the University of Utah and across the country, including pilots like my own project to try to improve awareness and education about radon in patients with lung cancer and their families. And I should mention that these life-saving studies are really only made feasible because of funding through organizations, federal organizations like the National Institutes of Health.
right. And funding has been cut recently.
Yes, we are seeing some cuts to some funding, but through continued support of federal agencies like the National Institutes of Health, we can continue to do this life-saving work and prevent cancer in families.
Okay, be aware. Get that radon test.
Yeah, utahradon.org, you can get a free test.
Excellent. Judy and TJ, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank